my protea garden that I planted 3 years ago. I have proteas, leucospermum, leucadendron, and banksias in this garden. And I've learned a few lessons in the last 3 years. The easiest to grow are the proteas, leucadendrons, and the banksias. And by far the hardest to grow is the leucospermum. I have a beautiful leucospermum right in the middle of the garden here. That is a flame giant. It's doing very well, but I've had a few of the leucospermums die. I've also planted mimetes in this garden. These are mimetes I grew from seed, and all 3 of them died in the garden. So I have a theory of what might be happening. In the summer here it's very hot and very little rain, but in the winter we get a lot of rain, 2 to 3 months of rain. And I live in an area where there's a fairly high water table. And although the ground drains well because I amended it, the water can just build up in the winter. And I think that buildup of water is killing the roots of the leucospermums. And then in the summer, when you get a very hot day, the plant can't survive because it doesn't have many roots and it just dies. So I'm guessing that's the same thing that happened to the mimetes in this garden. So what I've done is experimented here with a raised bed, and that's what I'm going to show you next. This is mimetes cococulatus. I grew these plants from seed. As I mentioned previously, I planted 3 of them in the soil in the ground, and all 3 passed away. So then I decided to try this raised bed to see if it could grow in this bed. And to my amazement, it is growing amazing in this bed. It loves it. It's been in this bed for about a year now. The size of the bed is 30 by 30 inches by 12 inches tall. This added drainage has made all the difference for this plant. The soil in the bed is 50% sand, 25% pumice, and 25% peat moss. In terms of watering, I water this plant in the summer when it's over 100 degrees every day. And then when it's in the 80s and 90s, probably every 3 to 4 days. So basically I water it as if it's a potted plant. I am so excited that this bed made all the difference for this plant. Let's go ahead and zoom a little closer. As you can see, the plant is just really growing well. Really happy that this plant made it. I still have some more in pots. I'm very reluctant to put them in the ground. I think they need a raised bed in the area that I live. I'm going to go ahead and show you 2 more plants that are in raised beds. Here's a banksia grandis that I purchased from the UC Santa Cruz Arboretum. It's in the raised bed. Very cool plant with beautiful leaves. It's growing very, very well in this bed. Here's a close-up of some of the leaves. Just a really cool leaf pattern. This is the 3rd plant I put in a raised bed, and it's Banksia menziesii. I grew this plant from seed. It's about 3 years old, and it's a very, very happy plant. It's growing really, really well in the bed. And I have a flower spike on this plant, and I'm going to have a flower here pretty soon. So I'm very, very excited. Let's get a little closer and show you the flower. Here's the flower spike. It's growing beautifully. I'm very, very excited about this. This plant, as I said, is 3 years old. I'm hoping to have this thing bloom in the next couple months, and I'll hopefully post a video on that. So here's the conclusion. If you want to have more success growing your harder to grow plants, I suggest you use raised beds, as this will just raise the water table higher and your roots won't die. And if you think about it, at least in my experience, all the leucospermums that I have in pots, none of them die in pots. They only perish when you put them in the ground. So the reason they can do well in pots is because of the excellent drainage. So when you have a raised bed, it's pretty much the same thing as having your plant in a pot. And of course, there's many ways to have a raised bed. You could have a giant mound. You could have a bed that's one big bed that's raised. So you can get creative and think about how you want to raise your bed, but I think you'll have a lot more success growing your plants. To all the protea lovers out there, let me know your experiences growing the harder to grow proteas like leucospermum, mimetes, and what your thoughts are on the raised bed. Till next time.